Alright, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tony. I am currently playing Super Mario World and talking about my marriage to my now ex-husband and some of the things that just you don't realize when you're in the relationship what exactly is going on. I talked about the relationship that we had with his family, my in-laws, or former in-laws, and I talked about the relationship that he had with my family. And now I'm going to talk about friendships. Now, when I first met my ex-husband, he was friendly with some of the people at work, but I quickly realized that it was kind of like he didn't have any other like real friendships. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have like I had my group of friends that I've had forever. Like my best friend Jen has been my best friend basically since we moved to Michigan when I was 8. And my friends Brenda and Nina have been my friends since the summer my dad died, and most of my other friends too. And I mean, obviously I have like quote unquote friends that are more like acquaintances nowadays because we barely speak, and you know, it's just people that I grew up with that I still call my friends but don't ever hang out with. But I'm talking about people that I hang out with. A lot of them, like I've got people that I've been friends with since our kids were in preschool together, people that I've been friends with since we were teenagers, people I've been friends with since we were in elementary school. Like usually if I have a good friend, they've been my friend for a long time. And my ex-husband only had one friend like that, his friend Glenn, who apparently has been his best friend for years. But I guess he was best friends with the wife, Leslie, first. And the weird thing is, when my husband and I first got together, he told me about his best friend Glenn, and he wanted us to meet. Because he knew my friends already. Like, he met my best friend Jen almost immediately because Jen started dating her now husband right about the same time I started dating mine. And like we got married within weeks of each other, and our daughters have, her, I guess not really middle, third, well, because she has 4 kids, so she doesn't have a middle. But her daughter Katie and my son Salem were born within like months of each other. Salem is September and Katie was Halloween, so like month and a half. And you know, so he met Jen and her husband, now her husband, and then he met my other friends because we all worked together. And so, you know, he knew my friends, a lot of them, not all of them, but you know, a lot of them. And then I only knew the people that he talked to at work, which was also my friends, like people that I was already friends with and had been because I worked there for longer. And he told me about his best friend Glenn. Well, he brought me over to meet his best friend and his wife. Well, the wife basically hated me on sight. Like, she was rude to me. She did not try to hide it. Like, I don't know what the deal was or is with her and my ex-husband, but like, apparently she had gotten a boob job and she wanted to show it to him. And he said no, I guess because him and I hadn't been together for that long, and he figured it would be weird to let some other girl whip out her boobs. And so, of course, right away she was sulking because she wanted to show him her boobs, and he said no. And I don't know, I'm not going to get too deep into that one because I'm pretty sure that the best friend is still married to this woman, so I won't tell you some of the other interesting things that happened over the years there. But it was definitely anyway, she didn't like me on sight after that. And they didn't even come to our wedding because she didn't like me. So then, like, years later, when, like, I'm talking like 2-3 years ago, when suddenly she started extending invitations for us to come hang out at their cabin, I said no. I'm sorry, but 14 years, 13, 14 years, you're going to just be rude and have nothing to do with me and my kids? No, I'm not going to suddenly be buddies with you just because. One second, Vivian keeps FaceTiming me, so I'm going to pause this. Okay, sorry guys. Vivian kept calling me. I don't know if you can even see me because the sun is like weirdly in front of me. But anyway, what I was saying is his friendship with, like, his best friend Glenn would come here sometimes. Like, Glenn would come. You know, he met Salem when he was born. Like, he would come. We one time took Glenn's grandson to like this winter carnival thing that they had. And so, you know, he was here a little bit, but like that was the most consistent friend that my ex-husband had the entirety of our 16 years together. Aside from that, he would like make friends at work, or like he would like be friendly with my friends' significant others. Mostly just one of my friends, though. And that brings me to my friends. Now, I have a group of friends that I'm just, like I said, we've been friends forever. We're always friends. That's just how it's going to be. And especially Nina, Brenda, and Jen. Well, he always liked Brenda, my ex-husband. And he, I think, tolerated, maybe thought Nina was okay. And I'm not sure if he was ever really fond of Jen, but I think that's because he knew that Jen had my back 1,000% all the time, no matter what. And that I was going to believe Jen. Like, if Jen found something out or saw something and told me, I'm going to believe her. And she's going to tell me. Like, out of all my friends, Jen is the one who, because, like, I'm not saying that Brenda wouldn't tell me if she knew something. She probably would, but I think she would weigh her options on if it's worth it to tell me or not. You know what I mean? Like let's say she had walked in and saw my husband making out with some girl. She's more likely to walk up, knock him upside his head, tell him, knock it off, or I'm going to tell her, you've got 30 seconds to come clean yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing, but not necessarily tell me if she didn't think that it was worth it. You know what I mean? Like, if she thought that she just saw one drunken mistake or something. Nina, I know for a fact from experience, wouldn't tell me because she started working with him when he was having an affair and didn't say a single word to me. It was actually my friend Erin who spotted something happening, spotted him and the girl like making out in the corner, and called me at like 4 a.m. and woke me up just to tell me. She was so upset. Whereas Jen, if Jen even so much as hears a rumor that might pertain to my husband, she's going to tell me immediately because there's no way that she's going to let me, you know what I mean? Like, that's just the way she is. She is going to, the same way I would do for her. And I think that's because we've been friends for 32 years, and that's just, she's like my non-biological sister. But he decided, like, he didn't have a problem with Brenda the whole time, but then, like, me and Brenda have always been the kind of friends where, like, we'll hang out nonstop for years, and then all of a sudden we'll go, like, 3 years where we barely even speak and, you know, run into each other on occasion, but it doesn't change the fact that we're still friends. You know what I mean? Like, she's still one of my best friends no matter what for life. It doesn't matter. Like, for instance, her child graduated this year. And even though her and I had barely spoken in probably 4 years, I was at that graduation. Nothing would have stopped me. It did not matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was right there. I taken pictures with the family. Like, it doesn't matter. That's my best friend forever. Same thing with when her oldest graduated. We hadn't really hung out a whole lot, but you bet your butt I showed up to the graduation. Like, there's no possible way that I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's that type of situation where, like, you're gonna be there for that person no matter what. And he would sometimes, like, get mad, like, if we didn't talk to her for a while, and say things like, well, I don't even know why we bother talking to her. It's not like she's a real friend. Okay, well, literally you don't have any friends, so how do you? Like, not to be rude, but, like, yes, she is. And then he, of course, decided as soon as my friends were working with him when he had his affair, he immediately hated Erin because she's the one who called and told me about it, which, hello, I had already known about it for like a year and a half at this point, so I just knew that it was still happening by that point. That was when I got fed up and called her husband, so I guess it was 2 years at that point. But yeah, that was because he had told me like 4 times at this point that he had stopped it, and he obviously didn't. But so he, of course, then Aaron was the enemy. And then Nina was the enemy because once Nina found out that I knew about it, then she gave me a bunch of details of stuff that she had saw and heard. Which she did say that she had heard it, she didn't believe it. But like, hello, calling, give me a heads up at least, you know. Like, granted, I already knew, but, you know, still. And then, I don't know his opinion of Brenda now. He probably doesn't like her because she's obviously not going to take his side in this whole split. But I mean, even if she still talked to him, I wouldn't be mad at her. Like, I'm not going to make any of my friends, like, choose sides, essentially, but they're, you know what I mean? Like, they're my friends. But it's just, it's always been weird to me that he, in the entirety of our relationship, has not had, like, really close, like a close group of friends like you would expect somebody to have. He had, like, friends that he had when he was younger that, you know, he would occasionally run into, but, like, I don't know, it always struck me as a little bit weird the way his non-friendships kind of were. And then he kind of like he became friends with the guy that got him using, and that was his most consistent friend that he's had. Well, I mean, it's weird because, like, there's our neighbor. We have a neighbor that lives not too far from us that I get along with quite well, because I used to watch his kid for him when she was younger. She was friends with my son Salem, and so, you know, I would watch. He's like a single dad, so I would watch his kid for him while he worked because he has, like, full custody. And even his ex-wife, his daughter's mother, I would even watch her other kid that's, like, with somebody else sometimes for her. So, you know, like, it's not like I don't have any beef with the ex-wife or anything. I get along just fine with her as well. But he, oh my gosh, why am I so bad at this? Anyway, so he was my husband's friend, but he was also my friend, and he still is also my friend. So, you know, but that's not somebody, like I said, like, my husband would always take off to go do whatever, and he would leave the neighbor hanging out with me instead of, like, bringing the neighbor with him, or, you know what I mean, like, stuff like that. Like, and I think that a large part of it is because he liked to tell stories, you know what I mean, like, he would start a job and tell people that he was already divorced, you know, things like that. So I think that's a big part of why he didn't really have that many lasting friendships that were people that I really knew, because then he wouldn't be able to do and say the things he was doing, as messed up as that sounds. But he was always, like, very, like, quick to try to say that I shouldn't hang out with certain people or, like, get mad at me for being friends with people. And anytime I was friends with a male, like, it didn't matter if he was friends with females, but if I was friends with a male, clearly something is going on between him and I. Like, there's no possible way that I was friends with a male and wasn't sleeping with him, wanting to sleep with him, trying to sleep with him, planning to sleep with him. But he could be friends with females. Like, if he would talk about, like, going over to Glenn and Leslie's and only Leslie was home, it was no problem if he hung out all day with her. But if I talked to my guy best friend, who I've known since I was, like, 14 years old, we're sleeping together. Just talking on the phone. And, like, it was always that kind of situation. But, like, I think that he didn't really have true friendships that didn't, like, in some way, like, I guess, benefit him. Like, even his one friend, I don't know if I should say his name. I guess whatever. I'll say his name. I'm not going to say last name. But his friend Roger. I've known Roger far longer than my husband. Well, I mean, I don't know, because I think, like, their families are related or whatever. So maybe my husband's known him just as long, ex-husband. But either way, like we know each other. And so, you know, even though Roger was clearly my husband's friend, he at least knew me well enough that, you know, when things happened with my husband, he asked me about it instead of just like automatically choosing a side or whatever. And because of that, even though this is my husband's friend, somebody that he was very much friends with, you know, his friend, he still, when things went south, immediately accused me of having an affair with this man. Even though this guy was not somebody I was close with, it was somebody that he was close with. And he still hangs out with this guy. I don't think the guy knows, because I certainly wasn't going to call him up and be like, hey, guess what? Because it really had no bearing. It's, you know, drugs are bad and don't do them, basically. And so, you know, I didn't, but like, he clearly, even our neighbor, he is dead set now that I am now dating our neighbor. I'm not. Like, I barely even talked to the guy. But he literally asked Salem the other day at visitation why he was wearing the neighbor's shoes. Salem has had these shoes since like 2018, I think, when he took them from his friend Brooke when they went on a camping trip in Ohio. Salem has worn these shoes almost every day since. Even in the winter, Salem wears these shoes with socks. They're slides. They're like sandals or whatever. Adidas slides. Salem has had these things for forever. Yet, if you ask my ex-husband, they're the neighbor's. I didn't know that the neighbor had shoes like that. Like, how do you know what kind of shoes the neighbor has, but you don't know what kind of shoes your own child has? You know what I mean? Like, he clearly does not have like that connection when it comes to friends, because he is certain that all of his friends are having affairs with his wife. And it doesn't matter if it makes no sense. It doesn't matter if we're not people that interact or hang out or talk. All that matters is they exist, and so they must be sleeping with his wife. And it's very weird to me, because at no point have I ever thought that any of my close friends were having affairs with my husband, because that just wouldn't even cross my mind as something that would happen for so many reasons. But I don't know, it's strange to me the way the friendship difference, you know what I mean? Like, he really struggles to make and keep close friendships, I've noticed. And anybody that he does like make friends with, it's very like superficial, I guess. And like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's always been very, very strange to me, and I don't really know exactly how to articulate it. I'm just basically trying to finish this level, because I'm more or less done talking about the subject, but I don't know. It's strange to me, I guess. That's the best way to put it. It's a weird situation, and I don't really know much about it, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Woohoo! Alright, so I'm going to end this here, and I am going to do another video. I'm just not sure what I'm going to talk about. I've talked about relationships with families, I've talked about friends, I've talked about the end of our marriage, I've talked about the drug use, I've talked about, I don't know, I've even talked about all the rumors that I've heard about myself. So I still want to do one more video. I just have to figure out what to make the subject on. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you saw this on TikTok. Follow my TikTok, follow my Instagram, follow my Twitter. And that's all I have. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.